Close of play of the first day of the fourth test at the Oval. Well, what an eventful day it was too. England closing on 53 for 3. That's 138 runs behind India's first innings. They were put into bat and made 191. They were 127 for 7 at one stage. And there was a riotous end to the innings as Shardul Thakur making 57 from 36 balls. It was the quickest test half-century ever scored on this famous old ground. Rahul made 17, Sharma 11, Pujara 4, Kohli made 50, good innings that. Jadeja, surprisingly promoted to number 5, made 10, Rahane 14, Pant 9. Then Thakur's 57, Yadav 13. And Siraj was one not out at the end when Jasprit Bumrah was run out without facing. It was a shambolic end to everything. Robinson 3 for 38, but the best of the bowlers was without doubt Chris Woakes, back in the test side, hasn't played for a year, took 4 for 55. In go England then, they immediately lose Burns for 5. He played on, plenty of bat on that to Bumrah, 4-5, that was 5 for 1. 4 balls later, Hamid put a very loose stroke, was caught by Punt off Bumrah, a ball that climbed but it was pretty wide. He made 0. 5 for 2, in fact 6 for 2 when Root walked out to bat, just like the bad old days. Well, he was bowled by Yadav for 21 after he and Milan had put on 47 together. So Milan is 26 not out, Overton 1 not out. It's 53 for 3. And England are 138 runs behind. It's worth mentioning that 13 wickets fell today. That's the joint most wickets falling on an opening day here at the Oval since 1926. And it has had, I have to be honest, that rather chaotic feel to it all. Michael Vaughan sitting alongside me. Well, I think just put into context, I mean, 13 wickets falling on the day. It was an overcast morning. Both captains were going to bowl first, but the ball didn't do that much.
No, I mean, you know, it's always easy up here saying, you know, that the batting is poor, but you know, we know at the Oval that you get true bounce. I haven't seen any balls kept low or bounced too much. You've got to expect a little bit of movement when the clouds are around. I think it's been a very good day for bowling. I think the bowlers have been very good. I don't think it's been a great day for catching because there's been catches that have been dropped. I think it's been a really poor day for the craftsmanship of Test match batting. You know, you can't tell me that with the talent of the players in both sides, someone shouldn't be getting a big score on that kind of surface. You know, we've seen nice drives down the ground, beautiful cover drives at times, but I don't know whether the confidence has gone, whether the minds are a little bit tired from a long series. I mean, again, I'm trying to give them all the excuses in the world, but yeah. I can't really. It was a poor day for batting on both sides. You mentioned the bad days of England's top order coming. It's only been a test. It's only been one innings.
One game.
One innings, and the back to what it was before. Yeah. No, it's not been a great day for batting. Entertaining, absolutely. A really entertaining day's play. I think everyone that's been here at the Oval will say they've been entertained, but in terms of high-class quality, we haven't seen a great deal with the batting hand.
No, a fair comment, Deep?
Fair comment to make. I think that innings from Shardul Thakur was a good example. Some of those on the rise drives that he hit down the ground, that just is a good example of how good this surface is for batting. Yes, I mean, when you come to England, you expect the ball to move around a bit, but nothing out of syllabus, so to say.
Yeah, and I don't know what you felt about the decision this morning. When I was down there, it felt like a bold first day.
It was the right decision.
Yeah, and you'd consider bowling a team out for 191. That decision itself was vindicated.
Yeah, and I still think England have got a chance to make sure that it is vindicated at the end of the game. But look, if they come out and bat the way that they did and they gift a couple of easy ones, Hasib Hamid opening the batting, dots, couldn't get off the scoreboard ticking, and all of a sudden he plays at a big Yahoo at a wide one. I mean, that's not what opening batters should be doing. Finally, India got a ball full to Joe Root.
Yes.
He moved to, what did he end up on, 20?
21.
21, and I thought it was the easiest 21 that he's probably scored all six. All into around that thigh pad high, on the back foot, thank you very much, one on the hip, and then all of a sudden, Yadav gets a full ball. That is the way you have to bowl to Joe Root. Yes. And if he gets 100 by your team, just accepting that you're going to get driven down the ground, you hold your hand up and say, at least we've asked him to do something different. He's been got out this series on the front foot every single time he's got out, and then it's generally with 100 by his name, but that is the way that you've just got to hang in there. You've got to be disciplined and patient for long enough to get him driving down the ground. Only 9% of his runs this series have come down the ground, from wide long on to wide mid off. So that tells you that India have bowled too short. That ball was a beauty, though. It nicked from
Yes.
a good yard outside of off stump. It's a really, really good delivery. And we know in the morning there's always a little bit more movement there. But when you look at the batting still to come, you've got Pope, you've got Bairstow, you've got Moeen Ali, you've got Chris Woakes.
Yes.
There's so much batting, but you can't rely on someone else. You can't be looking at that batting lineup and think, oh, someone else will get the score. You have to make sure that you get a big partnership. I thought Malan looked excellent. He just looks like he's settled back into Test match cricket with a great deal of confidence, so that's a good sign. But at tea time, Aggers, I thought India were completely out of this Test match. Well, they've won that last session with Thakur's innings and obviously with the 3 wickets, so the game's in the balance.
Yeah. How do you assess India's batting performance then, Deep?
Okay, I thought England bowled really well. Very disciplined lines as compared to the last Test match. I thought the genuinely good deliveries, the Rohit Sharma, the Pujara delivery, they're genuinely good deliveries. A little bit of error in judgment for KL Rahul, and then Virat again was actually a good delivery. Yeah, it won't be too harsh, but again, I think that innings of Shardul just tells you that every now and then you will. I mean, and at this level, the kind of talent that India has and experience, you would expect him to kind of see through those good deliveries. You expect a bowling lineup like this to bowl good deliveries, and you would also expect the Indian batters to kind of see through those spells, those deliveries. Again, I mean, Shardul Thakur, I mean, those runs are so important. I mean, at this point in time, if we are still talking about India in this game, as Wani just mentioned about India still in this game, it's because of that half century from Shardul Thakur. Otherwise, India would have been again 130. That's it.
Yeah. And Pant's stroke. We talk about Pant a lot, don't we? But it just got it. I mean, he did get it wrong today, didn't he? He caught long off at 127 for 6. It was. I mean, he was out, so it's 127 for 7. It just doesn't look good when you get out like that, does it? I know it's exciting. Maybe a bit of a laugh at him batting like that, but if you were in the dressing room, I don't think you'd be laughing very much at that.
True, and that's what I exactly meant first, as when I mentioned he can be extremely frustrating, because you see that talent, you see all that, and you see him getting out. But the thing is, I mean, if that comes off and a string of those shots come off, that's how he gets his hundreds, and that's how he changes games. So you've got to be a little more patient, someone like him, but you also expect him to learn. You can't be just stepping out and trying to hit every time you step out. At times you should be able to get into a position where if you don't get to the ball, you should be able to let it go as well. And I think he's not a youngster, so to say, anymore. This is his, 3rd year in international cricket. So he's not an out-and-out rookie. So you would also expect him to start learning and getting his decision-making right more often than not. Because this was, again, a ideal situation for someone like Rishabh Pant to come out batting with Shardul Thakur. He has the license to play his shots. So yeah, you would expect more from him for sure.
I mean, to be fair, his 9 was on 33 balls.
Yeah,
he only had a couple of swipes.
Yeah, frustration. All I'd say to him, look, the shot that he played today, he shouldn't be playing. He doesn't need to do it. He's got too much talent. Why can't he play those aggressive shots from just in the crease? A step and hit. You see, powerful players, they can step and hit these days. Why does he have to be dancing down? When he's dancing down, what's his head doing? It's moving.
Yeah, you lose control.
And by the time Chris Woakes, I thought it was brilliant, because he just rolled his fingers down the side of the ball, varied his pace, didn't allow that ball on a plate in the slot for Rishabh, got him fetching it. And I think if you're an England team playing against someone like Rishabh Pant, you're just going to manoeuvre your mid-off and mid-on and just say, go a bit deeper. We know he's going to be dancing down. For him to be an incredible player over a number of years, he's got to learn to play hard cricket strokes from in his crease. He doesn't need to be taking that many risks. He's too good a player to gift his wicket. And he's done it a few times. He did it in the World Test Match Championship final. There's been a few occasions in this series that he's tried to dance down. All right, he smacked Jimmy Anderson on that 5th morning for extra cover at Lord's, great shot, but I haven't seen that shot that he's played come off that often in English conditions against the Duke ball.
It doesn't come off. No,
so that's why you've got to say, OK, Rishabh, you're an aggressive player, but we need to work out more aggression from in your crease.
I don't you think he'll start getting fed up with this and getting out?
True,
like that?
Absolutely, because we keep talking about him having the license and all. That's all good, but after a while, you start feeling the pressure of actually not doing much with that license that you have of going out there and playing freely. End of the day, that license has to come good. That style of batting has to come good, which at least you would expect once in maybe 6-7 innings. Yeah. I mean, loosely speaking, and that is not happening. If he doesn't get 1 innings in 5 Test matches, then what are you doing with that license?
He's had no impact on the series with the bat in hand.
No, he hasn't.
And we're now into the 4th Test, 1 Test match to go. We've got 1 more innings here. We know the ball will move around a bit. If he goes the whole series without having any impact at all, it's then that you've got to really start looking at the way that you're playing. He's been given this license, he's been given this car to go out and drive in 6th gear, and it was a Ferrari at the start of the series. I'm afraid he's got to go back and start changing the car, because that one's not working. He's getting done for speeding quite often.
What about Kohli? He looked very determined. He was dropped on 22. It wasn't an easy catch for Root at slip. It just seemed to swerve away from him as it can do. But he plays some beautiful strokes in there. Yeah. But people are going to say that's another Test match innings gone without the 100. And people talk about hundreds, but Virat Kohli should be scoring hundreds. He'll want to be scoring hundreds himself.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think obviously there's a monkey on his back right now. Not scoring 100 for almost 2 years now. Yeah, and he's getting those starts. It's not that he's not getting the starts. He's getting those starts, and it's very unlike him not converting those starts. I think a couple of years ago he had one of the best conversion rates from 50 to 100. And that's something that he has to look back and see what was he doing at that point in time. How was he converting that? Today was a really good delivery, but in the right frame of mind, right form, I don't think he would have tried to play that at square leg or mid-wicket. He would have actually tried to play a lot more straighter, that one which he got out to, closing the face of the bat early. So in the right frame of mind, maybe he wouldn't have played that shot, even though that ball was very, very good.
Yeah, just on Virat Kohli, I think he's going through one of those periods in his career. I thought he played beautifully today. And he's just going through one of those periods that he makes one error, and he seems to be getting penalised. There's a lot of players that are making quite a few errors and not getting penalised. I look at his technique, that little ball, the ball that he snicked, it's a bit wide, but it's still a good ball, it bounces. The one that he got out to, again, it's just a slight minor error. He's just trying to work it on the onside. If the luck's with you, you play and miss at that delivery.
Yeah.
I guess you could argue he's such a good player that the ball's finding the outside edge because he's good enough to get that outside edge. He's not far away, and it wouldn't surprise me in the second innings here if he gets those 3 figures. With the way they've seen him play at Headley in the second innings and the first innings here, he's playing okay.
Yeah, those are lovely drives. Let's get some reaction from the England camp, shall we? Chris Woakes has been speaking to Simon Mann.
When you turned up for this Test match, did you feel confident in your body that you were ready to go for a Test match?
Yeah, as much as I could be. I think I haven't played for a little while with regards to Test cricket. I've been trying my hardest over the last few weeks to get up and as close to best as I can be. I suppose you're always a little bit worried about how it's going to go, but once you step over that white line, I suppose it's a matter of trying to do your job, and that was all I was thinking about, really.
And how do you feel it went?
Yeah, reasonably well. I'd have snapped your hand off before for 55 at the start of the day. But when you're in good rhythms and you're taking wickets, and then unfortunately I think Shardul got after us a little bit. Fair play to him. He played some nice shots. But yeah, I think to bowl a teammate for 190 on day one is still a really good effort. So pretty pleased.
And what about your own efforts? Coming into the attack around about 11:30 today, you put the opposition in, no early wickets, and then suddenly it starts to happen.
Yeah, I think when you're giving the ball, it was still fairly new, so I was just trying to snap into a good length, see if there's any movement, and you get an early wicket, gives you that little bit of confidence. So it's always nice to get that early one. Obviously, Sharma's a very good player, and I found like I hit a good rhythm early on, which I suppose kind of eased the nerves coming into the game a little bit undercooked.
Did that wicket give you most pleasure of the 4? A bit of bounce and lift, movement.
Yeah, it was a nice wicket. I suppose it was one of the better ones, and it's always nice to get an opener, a big player for them in that sort of manner. A perfect dismissal for myself. Kind of what I try and do: take the ball away from the right-hander to get shoulder of the bat through to the keeper is always nice to see.
There seemed like a relentlessness about England's bowling today. Did it feel like that out there? Yeah,
that's right. I think that's what we tried to do. We tried to pass it the spell on every time. Not try and get too greedy at the end of your spell. Make sure that you kind of pass it on to the next person in a good place, and don't get too greedy. We tried to hold the ball in the channel for as long as possible. Try and bowl as full as you can and as much as you dare, I suppose, without getting driven too much. But I think on a wicket, when you've won the toss, it's a little bit green. There's a little bit of movement. You've got to be kind of give it a chance to pitch the ball up and get in the right areas.
When you were out there, did it feel like a really obvious put-in pitch conditions?
I think more so from above, I think, really. The wicket was a little bit green, but then I suppose at the start of a Test match, it's always going to be a little bit in it to begin with. I think once we looked up and saw the grey skies, I think kind of everyone was in agreement to to try and win the toss and bowl, but you still have to try and not get too ahead of yourselves and try and bowl the team out within the first session. You've got to try and be patient, and I thought we did that quite well.
Is it a 13 wickets in a day pitch, or was it just 13 wickets in a day conditions today overall?
Yeah, maybe conditions. They've come out and bowled reasonably well to begin with there. I think sometimes when first a team gets bowled out for 190 or there's a lot of wickets, it's almost it's just becomes what happens in the game. The day kind of speeds up and wickets seem to happen. That's just the way the game went today. Tomorrow could be completely different. Hopefully it is, because we can bat well and bat long and hopefully bat past them.
How do you see the state of the game? 50 for 3 in reply to 190?
Yeah, I mean, they were probably the same, weren't they? So they'll probably be reasonably happy with the way they've bowled, to get us 3 down, to get Joe Root back in the hutch. And obviously we're pretty pleased to bowl them out for 190. So I think both teams, they'll be probably disappointed they didn't get a few more runs, and we're a little bit disappointed we're not 1 down at the close. So we're fairly even, I'd say. And
physically, just finally, how do you feel after your 15 overs back in Test cricket?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure I'll feel it later and I'll be a bit sore in the morning, but it's good to have those feelings back, to be honest. It's been a little bit of a wait, so I'm pleased to have them.